So I'm here with Trey and Greg. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Uh, Hell yeah. Greg, I know we've been on the episodes before. You want to give a quick, brief introduction of who you are for Trey, since you guys are just now meeting for the first time?
Yeah, I won't go too in depth like I did with Josh, but from Illinois, played 5 years of college baseball, 2 years at Missouri State, um, 1 year at Johnson County. I got the year back, so I was technically a junior at Johnson County. And then my last 2 years, I finished up at Michigan State. After that, I went and interned at the place I currently work, BRX Performance, out here in a little bit outside Milwaukee for 3 months. Went down to TCU where I met Miles we were there for about 4 or 5 months, and then came back out here, be a little bit closer to family. I really enjoyed my internship at BRX and wanted to stay around the skill side a little bit more. Originally thought that I wanted to do college strength and conditioning, but what really intrigued me was just having a lot more openness to having everything in house. You can talk a little bit more about nutrition. You can talk a little bit more about the psychological side, the skill sides in house. So you kind of see the whole athlete being built, and starting them at a young age is what really pulled me back. And been here since December of 24. So we're going a little bit over a year now, and been rolling ever since.
Trey, what's up? Give
Well,
us a
I
little
didn't know if you're
intro.
going to introduce me or anything, bro. I don't know how this works. Um, you want me to just go into an introduction?
Yeah, sure. Give us a little intro, who you are and where you're from, and
Got
anything you
you.
want to tell us.
So I'm Trey. I run a business on social media, Hard to Kill Health and Performance. I'm from the Kansas City area, although I just relocated. Backstory, super brief. Graduated high school, had a serious injury, rehabbed it for a year. I went to PTs, did all this stuff, paid for online training. None of it solved anything. Took my injury rehabilitation into my own hands, figured out that I could make a difference more than anyone else. And that kind of created my Instagram. I started falling in love with the process of posting on Instagram, fell in love with training. At that time, I also realized I wanted to play college football at the next level. Graduated high school in 2021, didn't have offers, had no coaching contacts, really didn't have a thought of playing at the next level. And after I graduated, I realized, okay, I've just been a football player for the last 18 years of my life. I have no idea who I am or what I want. Decided I wanted to play college football. Went to junior college, didn't play a sport, spent all of my time reaching out to coaches, trying to get recruited, going to camps, training myself, learning as much as I possibly could through social media. Eventually, that paid off. Got to a small D2 in Southeast Kansas. Um, I worked for the team for a little bit. I was an equipment manager. That was my way onto the team. Once I got that, got an opportunity to actually be a part of the team in the spring of 2024, so January 2024. Went through spring ball, got hurt because of an unfortunate situation where strength and conditioning was not up to par for what we were actually doing in sport. And that came to be a recurring theme as my time as a college athlete. Went through summer, fall, didn't play. I'm a 21-year-old, mind you, as a freshman. So all these kids are 18, 19, 20. I'm unk, and I'm not getting any reps. I hated it. Go through the fall, no reps at all. Eventually got to spring ball again, and that was this in the spring of 2025. Realized what I knew from the start. I was like, this is not what I thought it would be. It's not what I want. I know that I am more than just a football player. Decided to hang up the cleats. Just graduated college undergrad in biology, and now I'm kind of figuring things out, building a business, dude. That's really all there is to it.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, dude, relocated to influencer capital of the U.S.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm about to come down there with you. But
Pull up,
um
bro.
but yeah, so Trey, about myself, like Greg, I played 5 years of college baseball, four at a small Division II school in Columbus, Ohio, and then one at a small Division I school, Dallas Baptist in Texas. So I'm familiar with Austin. But yeah, kind of same thing as Greg. I ended up interning at TCU with Greg the fall after I graduated. So I spent a summer trying to play indie ball and stuff, and didn't work out. And I was there with Greg, and then ultimately decided to step back away from the roles I was being offered, and to continue to travel and play as more of a way to just experiment on my own in terms of training and performing and stuff. And because I mean, I had a really crappy last year of college baseball, so I wanted to try to prove to myself that I could still compete and find ways on my own to do that. So what you see is what you get. And then you go on my Instagram, you see me doing blindfolded ISO lunges and killing myself during push-up holds and whatnot. So but anyway, we had a really good conversation before we even joined, just about kind of what it takes and whatnot. And Trey, if you don't mind kind of going into a little bit, like what is stopping you from training the way that you want to train, or the things that you want to do in life?
Yeah. I'll try not to, go on too much of a tangent. I'll keep it actionable and pragmatic,
Let it
but
rip.
essentially let it rip, take the governor off. Dude, really what it comes down to is you have to identify what you actually want. If you want to be a better baseball player, be a better football player, lean into that, fully embody that, and then do the things that are required to actually be that person. Financially, if I want to be a billionaire genius, if I want to be the next Bill Gates minus like the lizard person stuff, lean into that and be that person. Like it is that simple. It is that black and white. There is no gray area. And the reason that people don't get that, especially in the sports performance world, is they're too shy to actually accept what they want. They don't have the courage to say, dude, I want to run a 4.340. It's not I want to run a 4.9. It's not I want to throw 90. You want to throw 105 if you're a pitcher. You don't want to throw 90. Like that's the reality of the situation. If I'm playing football, I want to play the game like Ed Reed. I want to have a 40-inch vertical. Now, if I don't have the courage to actually state that and have the confidence in myself to state that opinion, that desire to other people, I will never get anywhere because I can't actually enunciate what I want to do. And if I don't know what I want to do, how am I going to know what I need to do to get there? If I don't know what my goals are, my true goals are, not superficial BS like, oh, I want to start. Like, okay, I want to be an All-American. I want this, this, and this, and this. Now that I have that, what do I need to do to get there? So it really comes down to getting out of your own way, understanding that it is a binary situation. It is a choice. Everything is a choice. You either choose to be the person you want to be, to do the things you want to do, or you choose not to. And either choice that you make, you can listen to everything I just said. For anyone out there listening, you can listen to what I just said and you can accept it as nothing but the truth, or you can throw it out. Either option, either decision you make proves my point exactly. That's all I got.
Yeah. I guess I'll add on to that, like getting out of your own way. I think when people hear like, oh, you just have to do it, they think of like Jocko, where Jocko's like, oh, you just got to do it, like all that motivational talk and stuff. But I mean, really, like it kind of what you said, it's as simple as that. Like, I think even for me, for example, like we talk about like long duration ISOs, like I do not want to do any of those. Like yesterday, I did a blindfolded 4.5 minute lunge ISO, and blindfolded is also to like the craziest experience of all time, because like you're quite literally the only person like you can't see the time, you have no music, nothing. It's like you're the only person deciding whether or not like how long you want to go for. um and that's a small example, I guess, but Greg, if you want to add on to that,
Yeah, I
be my
think
guess.
a big thing, and Trey touched on it too, going through, it's a binary choice. You have the option to assess, what do I want? And then are you going to make the decisions? And there's going to be people, I think a big thing of being aware is there's going to be people that think you're crazy or say, yeah, that's not going to be possible. But if someone has done it before, then why the fuck can't you do it? Okay, I have decisions to make. You just make those decisions. And I'm not saying that they're the easiest decisions. I'm not saying that you're going to know what decisions to make in that moment. But if you consistently align with what you want, those things, and this kind of goes into my faith, but those things will be uncovered if you stay on that path. And we were kind of talking about the pipe thing, but you mentioned Jocko, Miles. Everyone has their own way. Some people might not believe in ISOs. Some people might not believe in specific ways of thinking, but it all comes down to one, being aware, and then aligning with those decisions to make. And the thought process from myself to Trey to you, Miles, can be different. But at the end of the day, if we have a massive goal that we want to accomplish, there's a road that we can follow. And like I said, the decisions aren't going to be easy to be made, but those decisions are necessary and those have to happen consistently over and over. But originally, like I said, going back to it is awareness. If you know that you are weak mentally, that is what you need to attack. And weak mentally is a cliche thing to say, but if you know, oh, this 3 minute ISO is going to be hard, you start the timer right away and just go into it, because then you uncover, okay, I'm going to start thinking a minute and 30 seconds in, okay, this is too hard. Why am I even trying to do this? But when you just make the decision to do the thing that is going to get you on the path to get you where you want to go, then those little wins start to happen. And I always like to talk about this with athletes, but like, if you want to gain weight, if you want to throw 90, 95, 100, if you want to run a 4.3, run a 6.6, 60, the little wins add up, and process goals are the most important thing. And you just doing the damn thing over time is what gets you to those goals.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Something I'd like to add there. There was multiple things there that I think were great. Number one, there is an important distinction to make. Yeah, it's a choice, and I agree. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and I don't think it should be easy. And if it were easy, everyone would do it, and it's very clear that 99% of people do not act on what they actually want. Case in point. And then secondly, as far as like the awareness goes, and connecting that with the ISOs just happen to be a great vehicle to understand this whole choice, this awareness thing, because you have nothing external that you can draw from. Like, you are in that position. If I am in an ISO lunge, I am either holding the ISO lunge or I fail. It's not like I can kind of fail or kind of hold. It's like you are holding the position or you fail. And what you understand or come to understand as you do these ISOs is it is a choice. Like I did, so I was with Dak the past couple of days. The first thing we did on the second day, walked out, did a top push-up hold as long as you possibly could. That's it. That's literally the only thing we're doing. I couldn't see the timer, couldn't do anything. Ended up getting like 7 minutes. The most I think I've ever done is like 3 or 5 minutes, something like that. But what I came to understand, which I think I've thought about in the past but never fully realized it, there are times during the ISOs that you're like, dude, I want to drop. Like, I wanted to drop 2 minutes in. I didn't know it was 2 minutes in, but I wanted to drop. I decided not to. Like, physically, I was not failing. Physically, based on the caliber of athlete that I am and you guys are, we should not fail at a 2 minute push-up hold, nor should most athletes in general. It's not that stressful of a stimulus on your body. And so at 2 minutes, I wanted to drop. I said no. I decided not to. Stayed up. 4 minutes, I wanted to drop. 5 minutes, I wanted to drop. 6 minutes, I wanted to drop. 7 minutes, I fully realized I wanted to drop. And instead of neglecting that thought, I just chose to drop. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that I could have chosen to keep going. I simply didn't. And that's why I think the ISOs are so valuable, because what other way can you put yourself in this pseudo life or death situation where there is only two outcomes? You either drop or you hold the position for however long you said you were going to. And there's no way in between. And there's not really any potentiality for you getting hurt. It's not like you're doing, if I were to tell you to go do a 500-pound back squat, as many reps as you can. If you can't do a 500-pound back squat, you're going to get wrecked. Like, that doesn't work. And that's where I think the isometrics have so much value, is you can constantly do them and constantly train yourself to understand that it is a choice whether or not you do what you need to do. because you're so present, you're so aware, like your awareness is on what you are doing in the present moment. Nothing else exists. And if you extrapolate that understanding that you gain through the isometrics to other aspects of your life, it doesn't even have to be health and performance. It can be relationships. It can be whatever. The only thing that is real is the present moment. And having awareness that you are in the present moment is all that matters. And it will allow you to make the most of it. Because if you ask yourself, what if, or you look back to the past and you try to feel nostalgia, whatever, the past has already happened. That's not reality. The future is going to happen. That's not reality. Wanting or desiring to always spend your time thinking about either situation is irrational simply because that's not real. Like objectively, the future is not real. The past is not real. The only thing that's real is right now. And you realize that when you're putting yourself in a 5-minute ISO lunge that, okay, all that matters is what I'm doing right now. And now that I gained that understanding, I can apply that to every aspect of my life.
100%. I'm gonna go just quickly off of that, and I was just thinking about this, which is cool having this conversation because more things get uncovered. But think about doing a 5-minute push-up hold. Within those 5 minutes, you might go 45 seconds and then be like, damn, I want to drop, like you were saying, Trey. And then you make the decision to think about, okay, but why am I doing this? There's more to this besides strength and conditioning, getting stronger. There's more to uncover. And then you go another like 45 seconds, and then the same thing comes up, and it's just a consistent flow of choices that you're making. And at the end of the day, the goal is to go to failure, but you're trying to push to that limit. And I think that's one of the coolest things in my mind about ISOs, is especially long duration, is you have multiple choices within a single set that you can make.
Yeah, 100%. It's like a cycle. And obviously there is a physical limit. Like if I want to do a 20-minute push-up hold, there could be a potential, there could be a chance that I physically cannot sustain that output right now. Okay, that's fine. But what I'm not saying that I can like just decide to go run 300 miles nonstop. Like that's irrational. There is a limit. There is a physiological limit. I am not an immortal, omnipresent being that can just genuinely, like I can't just make fire appear in my hand right now. That's not what I'm saying. People are going to hear saying, "Oh, you can do whatever you want," and like get that misconstrued. But to an extent, you can do whatever you want rationally, even irrationally. Like I can hold a wall sit for 20 minutes if I wanted to, based on what I know to be true about my own physical being.
And to go off of that, like I think there's nothing better like than doing an ISO till failure, like to complete like true failure. Like, because whenever I talk to guys about it, like where I do ISOs with like guys that I work with, whatever, like they hold them for a certain amount of time and they drop, whatever. Like they make the decision to stop. But like I think kind of going off what you said, Trey, like it can bleed into other things in your life too. Like I think if you do things until like you're like, okay, like this, you know, this is not going to work anymore. Like I'm actually failing at this, then, you know, you can actually translate that to other parts in your life as well. Does that make any sense? It's 5:30 here, guys. I'm sorry. But what I'm trying to say is like it translates in other parts of your life. Like if you're able to do things until complete failure and to keep going, even when you're telling yourself like not to, I think it could definitely help out. Like in the pipes is huge. Like the spirit part is crazy in training.
Yeah, and it gives you a practical way to work on that because the thing that I've thought about for the longest time and I've come to realize to be like genuinely my philosophy. I love training. I love taking my health seriously. I love all of that stuff. Don't get me wrong. But it is deeper than that. It gives you this opportunity to enlighten yourself to the like your actual capability and your potential because I can take someone off the street and have them dial in their health and dial in their training and get them to understand what they are capable of. And ISO is a perfect example. I can use this isometric and have them do a deep push-up hold, and they'll go in there for 30 seconds the first time and think that they are dying, like feel like their entire body is going to explode. If I can get them to do that consistently, same thing if I can get them to eat healthier, take their sleep seriously, whatever, and help them understand that it is their choice whether or not they do this. It is their choice if they eat healthy. It is their choice if they have healthy relationships. It's their choice if they stay up in the isometric push-up. It does not matter. They are going to progress. If I do that with them consistently for 30 days, they are going to get to a point in the isometric push-up hold that 2 minutes is now the same as 30 seconds was 30 days prior. So like the health and performance is really just this tiny little barrier that you can help people jump over to create radical self-belief. And once you have that belief, they can gain agency and gain control of their situation and understand, okay, dude, like this ISO push-up, I can just decide to do 3 minutes. What's stopping me from deciding to go get that promotion? What's stopping me from talking to that girl and getting her number? Nothing. Like you realize that you can help people overcome a whole host of challenges outside the weight room by doing something as simple as a fucking ISO. It's crazy.
So how do you take this attitude and apply it into smaller parts of your life?
What do you mean?
Like in terms of like the attitudes we just talked about in terms of like being able to decide things, right? Like being able to take an ISO lunge, right? And decide you want to just go for it. Like how do you take that same attitude and apply it to, you know, your diet, your mental health, like you mentioned, relationships, like your sleep? Because I think a lot of young athletes have a problem doing that. Like they want to get dialed in for their training, right? But they don't necessarily want to take the additional steps to maximize everything outside of it. So how you said, like, you know, you get a guy off the street to do these things and he can apply it to other parts of his life, but like how do they make that conscious decision to do that? Like what are ways that they can just go for it? The application process of it all.
For me,
For Greg or Trey,
and
whoever wants to answer.
Greg, you can go ahead and rip on what you think, because I need a moment to think about this.
Okay. I would say, Trey, you mentioned agency, and I think that, and I know we're going to get into some of the philosophical talk about training and programming and that stuff, but I think a big piece of pushing to your limits is building agency through the decisions that you make. I can't say this decisions today, but building agency to actually just make the decision to just go where you want to go. So you want to improve your sleep. This is one of the areas that I'm not as good at. I get efficient sleep. I don't sleep 8 to 10 hours a day. That's besides the point. But you want to gain weight. You want to bench 315. You want to squat 500 pounds. Zooming out and taking the present moment, as well as what you touched on, Trey, and just going in on what are the choices that are in front of you. And I had a coach in the past talk about there's either a choice that gets you to move forward or there's a choice that gets you to go backwards. And at the end of the day, we're addressing these goals and addressing these areas. Like Miles, you were talking about the diet. If you want to become a healthier individual, if you want to get stronger, if you want to sleep better, if you want to move better, if you want to build better relationships, all of this stuff that you can do in the weight room, and it's not talked about enough, but you making the hard decisions over and over again sprinkle into all of these other areas in life. And I don't have the best way of speaking on this or even like giving my thoughts, but I truly believe that if you take care of your business in one area and treat it, even if you're not the smartest on it, like, hey, I don't know the exact micronutrients that I should have throughout the day or what um, the exact program I should do or the how to get the most efficient sleep. But if you make the choice of, okay, I'm going to get better at this, and you stack improving your knowledge on these things, these specific areas, that is what gets you to them. And like I said earlier, if someone has done it before, then why could you not do it yourself?
Yeah, dude, I 100% agree. I'm going to try to put this into words as simply as possible and make it actionable. It comes back to what we talked about earlier. The first step is understanding what you want. If you know what you want and you are not getting there, like if I want to throw 100 or I want to be successful. It doesn't matter. The output is arbitrary. The process is what matters. If I want something and I am not doing the things necessary to do it, do I really want it? It comes down to that. Like, do you want it bad enough? And it sounds cliche, but everything that's cliche is cliche because it's true. If you know what you want, most people don't. But if you know what you want, you sit down, you're brutally honest with yourself. You're like, I want this, and I am not ashamed to say it. I want to make $1 million. I am not ashamed to say it. I want to throw 105, whatever. If you do that and use the common sense that is innately given to you, thankfully, unfortunately, a lot of people don't use it. The most logical step is, okay, I know what I want. What do I need to do to get what I want? Once you do that, you lay all the options out and all the decisions you need to make. It comes back to agency. It's literally just doing. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to overthink. There's no perfect time. Once you lay out what you need to do, do it. And if you're not doing that, you're setting yourself up for failure. And it comes back, do you really want it bad enough? Because, and it's unfortunate that this is the reality of things, but most people, they know what's good for them. They know what they should be eating. They know what they should be doing for training. They know all of this stuff. They simply don't act on it because acting on it is hard. And there's this whole this paradox that I think about. You know, in the short term, doing things that, you know, push you out of your comfort zone or make you uncomfortable, that's the same thing. They seem hard in the moment. Like, in the short term, they seem like the harder decision. And that's true. That's understandable. If I want to get healthier and going to the gym is hard for me, that's scary in the short term. But in the long term, that's going to pay off and therefore make my reality in the long term easier. Inversely, if I decide not to go to the gym right now, that's the easiest choice. That requires little to no effort. It's not scary. It's what I'm already doing. But in the long term, I'm shooting myself in the foot because now I'm creating a reality that's harder and I'm prolonging the stagnation that I'm already living in. And really, if you're not growing, you are dying. Like, survival. If you are not growing, you are dying. If you are not trending upward and gradually getting better, you are dying. If you are declining, obviously you're dying. But if you are stagnating and getting complacent, you will not be able to survive, let alone thrive, because you're not adapting to the environment. Your environment is ever changing, so why would you not be ever changing as well? That's where people get trapped in this stream of consciousness. If you imagine these are two barriers, people occupy this spot right here, and they get distracted and they get complacent, and they don't realize that once they wake up and just pick their head up and put their head above this barrier right here, it's what we're talking about. You just have to do what you know you already need to do, and your life will be so much easier in a performance sense, health sense, relationship sense. It doesn't matter. But the first step is to actually just do something. And by doing that, you're going to separate yourself immeasurably from the rest of the population.
JCCC created some dogs, huh?
Represent, bro.
So what's the best way to hold yourself to it then? Like, for example, I work with a lot of high school athletes that talk a lot about, I want to do this. I want to go play. I want to go play at a college. I want to go, do whatever. Like, okay, so, people always say, oh, write your goals down, like things like that. Like, what are some strategies you guys have found that, like, are the best ways to hold yourself to it?
I think that's honestly a very subjective experience. Like, you have
Yeah, no,
to,
exactly.
yeah, me personally, like, an example, I've always been super dedicated to my health, like, out of the womb, dude. Like, before whoops were a thing, I had a Nike Fuel Band in like elementary school, and I would hit my goal every single day. I would cry if I didn't hit it, and I would call up Nike support and have them change it so I could have my streak continued. So, like, for me, that type of stuff has never been super hard. Like, going to the gym, I love going to the gym. Eating healthy, I've been eating healthy since birth. Like, it's a choice for me. That's not hard. But something that I've struggled with is, like, I want to, for example, write. I've always wanted to write. I've wanted to journal. I've wanted to create stuff. And I found that journaling like every single night didn't work for me. Like, I would do it for a little bit, and then my mind, being a perfectionist, I would like mess up a word or not write what I wanted to and just scrap it and be inconsistent. So I just recognized that shit does not work for me. threw that idea out. And then I basically forced myself into writing for 30 minutes every single day for a year by publicly announcing it to 10,000 people and just doing it and like setting a reminder every single day. I'm going to sit down and do this. There's no thought process here. There's no editing. I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes. What I write is what I write. And essentially, I'm teaching myself to eliminate the friction between having an idea and creating it. So pragmatically, if there is an outcome you want to achieve and there is an action you know that will get you to that outcome, you just have to, one, start and then figure it out along the way, what works for you and what doesn't. Like, there's not going to be a perfect framework that works, because what works for me is not going to work for Greg. What works for Greg is not going to work for you, Miles. So, like, to me, it's having the agency, doing, and then just adjusting on the fly instead of, you know, trying to make this optimal protocol sort of thing that might not work for you. Like, you're going to learn so much more by just figuring out what works for you and adjusting on the fly.
Yeah, very subjective. I love that you said that, because I think we touched on it earlier. Many things you can consider cliche. Like, for myself personally, I have, in June, it will be 3 years that I've taken a cold shower every single day. In June, it'll be 3 days. And that might not be like something that has gotten me to the point that I'm at now, but the combination of making my bed when I wake up, something I don't want to do, or it started as something I don't want to do and didn't do. And you can say, oh, why would I make my bed? I'm going to sleep in it that night. Like, what's the point of doing that? But if you can't make the decision to do the thing that is so simple, it might not translate right at that moment. But if you can't do the little things, then how do you expect to actually achieve making 100,000 a month, or achieve building a business where you have multiple people following you and trusting you? If you can't do those little things over and over again, that in the grand scheme of things are simply easy and don't take much time, then you can't expect to manage multiple clients, have people trust you with their life and their development through their business, through their relationships. There's so many different ways that you can accomplish doing the hard things, but like the whole theme that we've been talking about is just doing it. Pick some stuff, pick a few things that you feel like, all right, if I just commit to this, maybe I need to write it down to do it every single day, but I feel like I could do it. If you feel like you can do it, if you feel like it's something that's going to help you, then do it. Picking something to do every single day will sprinkle into other areas of your life. If it's a cold shower for a certain amount of time, if it's making your bed, if it's praying for a certain amount of time, if it's writing, if it's literally anything, if you do that every single day, then why can't you go to the gym every single day? Why can't you make the decision to eat healthy every single day? Why can't you help other people? But at the end of the day, receipts matter, and if you aren't doing that, then why should anyone else trust you?
Yeah, I'd like to add something to that. And essentially what you just demonstrated, choosing what to do and then doing it, that builds momentum. So like if I were to sit down and say I'm a high school athlete, if I were to sit down the night before and be like, okay, dude, I want to wake up at 6 a.m. I want to take a cold shower, go for a walk, and then pray. Write it out and then do it. It's going to be hard. Like, again, none of this stuff is easy. That's the whole point. Nothing worth doing is going to be easy. That's just an objective fact. If you write everything out, you wake up, you do it. Okay, day one, you just built momentum for day two. Let's say you wake up the next day, you're going to do the same thing. It's hard. You decide to anyways. Maybe it's cold outside. You don't want to take a cold shower. Who cares? Take the cold shower anyways. You told yourself you're going to do it. If you can't hold yourself accountable, nothing else matters. If you can't have the awareness to like literally treat yourself as the most important thing, how are you going to be able to treat other people the same way? So then you do it still. Day two, you just built more momentum and you just keep doing that. And you're basically reinforcing to yourself, okay, I am capable of doing this. I am capable of doing this. Maybe 2 weeks down the road, okay, I'm going to read for 30 minutes in the morning. I'm going to add another task. I have momentum, and you just keep building momentum and it becomes effortless at some point. Like, Greg, I don't think you have to think about getting in a cold shower in the morning, maybe here and there, but it's become second nature to you because you've just built so much momentum.
Miles, you want to go in on any? I could keep ripping. This is.
I just want to say that I will, I will never take a cold shower. Give me the hottest shower. I want like my skin to be burning. I'm sorry. I just maybe it's a me thing. Maybe this shows how soft I am. I guess maybe should start taking cold showers.
Bro, you need to listen to Jocko and just do it. Just take the cold shower. They're amazing.
Yeah, shit.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try it for a month every single day, and then
Oh,
see how you
man.
feel. There's actual
Dude, I'm so mad.
physiological benefits to doing it, but like I feel like I don't even think about that shit anymore. I just rip it, and then
Oh,
the consistency of my life and my mood and being able to show up as myself every single day comes from doing specific things. And I'm not gonna like sit here and say I'm perfect with everything, because I've gone let's say like 6 to 8 months of journaling every single night. And then I've gone 6 to 8 months of not doing it. I just started doing it again. And it's cool to hear momentum, because last night, the first line that I wrote in my journal was ride the momentum. If you pick things to do consistently over and over again, you might not be perfect with it. You're going to fuck up at some point, but that's the beauty of life, is you have choices that you can make, and one day or one bad decision will not screw up your whole life or will not ruin your whole day. And that's a big thing, and a big piece I've learned from just trying to do something every single day.
Yeah, dude. And like, I think of the cold shower almost in the sense of ISOs. Like, if sometimes when I'm going to do an ISO, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Most of the time, I've gotten to the point where, like, okay, this is going to suck, but I'm looking forward to it. Dude, sometimes when you wake up in the morning, like it's 6 in the morning, the last thing I want to do is get in a cold shower. Like, the last thing. And then I get in there, and then 2 minutes later, I'm like, dude, I am amped. Let's get after it. Like, it literally is like jet fuel. It's like finding, like, if you could find little activities like that throughout your day that genuinely scare you. And it sounds so stupid to say that getting in a cold shower is like a scary thing. But when you get out of a warm bed in the morning and you're like half awake, it is scary. I don't want to get in cold water. Your body naturally does not want that. So if you could find a way to stack habits like that, that genuinely are difficult, and it's subjective. So like maybe writing for me is extremely difficult. Maybe I have a very hard time expressing my thoughts. Cool. Maybe Greg doesn't have that problem, so he has to find something else. If you can find habits like that that you can just schedule throughout your day, maybe one in the morning, maybe one in the afternoon, maybe one at night, you just keep, like, literally you can make yourself into a fucking superhero, bro. It's literally that easy.
dude, dude, this is good. This is just turned into a lecture on myself. I much rather do a 5 minute ice than get in a cold shower. So I'll take a cold shower today. How about that, Greg?
Maybe
I'll film it for you.
good,
I'll get
good,
behind the
but
ears.
only your head.
Okay. All right. No, 'cause
That's a good piece. I know we want to get into the next thing, but the feeling of not wanting to do it, and if it's something that you know is going to benefit you, is something that you should lean into always.
yeah. I mean, like it's funny because like I always like think about it now. Like ever since I started training with Brady and like the whole like decide, like the decision and making the choice, like debate and thought process. Like when it comes to getting in the ocean or getting into a cold pool, I just literally just run into it or I jump into it. But cold shower, cold shower, oof.
No, dude, I'm
Um,
the same way. I have a cold plunge, or had a cold plunge up in Kansas City that I'd use in the winter.
oh my God.
It'll be 10 degrees outside, and I have to like pickaxe through the ice. That's way easier for me than getting in a cold shower. Like, there's something about being inside and having running water on you that is terrible. Like, if I had a pool that I could just jump into in the morning, that would be literally best case scenario, because then once you jump, you can't get out. Like, you're just in the pool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think. But going off of that, like I love talking about making your own bed because I think that is like a great way to see like how like process oriented someone is, or not. Maybe not. Is that a good way to put it? Process oriented, or like how well put together. I don't want to say how well put together, but some to me just about making your bed in the morning is like there's a lot of people that don't do it. There's a lot of people that don't achieve their goals either. I don't know. Greg, do you want to add anything to that about making your bed in the morning? Because I know
I was
you
just
read
gonna
the
say,
book.
yeah, quick and easy read. You can even watch the speech that General McRaven, I think his name is, gave at a university for graduation. But the cool thing is we can pivot into sports or into life with all this stuff, and I think that's a cool thing about all of this is you can take what you have, and the way I am is because of sports and because of training, but we can pivot into any direction if it's life, if it's sports, if it's relationships. But that's what we're talking about now is the process is something that will help you get to where you want to go in any avenue of your life.
Yeah, and Greg, this is a question that you were talking about earlier, but like and I think we've touched on it briefly. Like, how do you get people to understand like that it's more than just outcomes? Because I think a lot of people, again, like they go to the gym and stuff, and they train, but yeah, until you take other things in your life seriously, like you won't get like you can't take one seriously and not the other. Like there can't be an imbalance there. Like you either take them both seriously or you don't, and that's when you start seeing outcomes. Like especially in performance, like you can take your daily life seriously, but if you don't take your training seriously, then you never actually perform the way you want to. You never would live the way you want to, and vice versa. So that's really interesting. I think that's a good point that you just brought up. Trey, what do you think?
Honestly, dude, I don't know. I think it's so cool, like the interplay of, you know, how everything we're talking about applies to life and it applies to performance. Um, I'm gonna be completely honest. I forgot what you were talking about because I was not paying attention right there. I was just zoned out thinking about something. You're gonna have to remind me what we were just talking about. My apologies.
No, it's okay. Listen, this is not going to get edited out. This is just all just us having a good conversation. I feel like
Yeah, bro, it's authentic.
we've all been just ranting about stuff. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I want to talk more about like pipes.
Mhm.
And Trey, I want to ask you because you spent some time in Kansas City, right? Kansas City.
Yep.
Talking about pipes this past week. Um, how does someone program for pipes?
That's a good
Which
question.
I guess for people that don't know, you said pipes is what physiology, intellect, right? As
Yep.
I, P is psychology, E is emotion, and S is spirit. So I've been writing stuff down the
Correct.
entire time. So I've been looking down and up at you guys. I promise I'm listening, but just been taking notes. So
As far as programming stuff, I mean, dude, I just learned what pipes was a few days ago. Like I'd been exposed to the concept of it, but I've never truly been able to understand it. And being in person with Brady and seeing how you can implement that um, was very helpful. And essentially, what I got out of it in terms of how do you program, like how do you truly expose yourself and use everything that you have to just grow and create an adaptation in the weight room specifically. I'll try to be a little bit more specific talking about training in this. Most of the time, people go to the gym and all you're thinking about is the physical. And then the next layer down, that's like the most superficial thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to the gym, I want bigger muscles. The next layer down, people think about, okay, you know, in entering in like the mental resilience, the mindset sort of stuff. That's like the next layer down. And then you start to understand I started to understand when I was exposed to pipes, like it is deeper than even, the mentality behind it. It's you can use your emotion, you can use your intelligence or intellect, whatever you want to call it. You can use your psychology, your behavior, the way that you view the world. You can use that. You can use your emotions. You can use the non-physical aspect of your body, which is your spirit. And regardless of, your beliefs, whatever, me personally, I am this physical body, but I am not only this physical body. Like to me, if I die, my body's going to be in a ditch somewhere over there. My spirit is not a part of that. Like I am merely just inhabiting this. So if I can access something that I deem to be that powerful, and use all of the aforementioned things in my training, that's going to benefit me way more than I just went in the gym and just said, hey, I'm going to get an arm pump. And actionably, because I'm speaking in vague terms, like the isometrics are the best example, because you're able to combine everything. And like we've talked about, the choice, all of this stuff, you can draw on your physiology. You're using your arms to hold yourself up in a push-up ISO. You are using your intellect to objectively understand that when I fail, I will choose to fail. I can just choose to stay up. You can use your psychology and essentially just psyop yourself into being positive about the situation. You control your thoughts. Your thoughts don't control you. You are the cause, not the effect. You can use that to your advantage to stay up in the top push-up ISO. You can use emotion. Maybe your emotion is, a personal example, when I was at this thing with Dak, we're in a circle. There's 6 guys doing a top push-up ISO as long as you can. Me, I used fear. I didn't want to be the first person to drop. So I used that. I didn't look at that and be like, oh, I don't want to be scared. I leaned into that. I'm using that fear. I am not going to drop first. That's just what's going to happen. I'm going to use that. And then finally, the spirit. Like, I am going to be able to look at myself from a different perspective and be like, dude, you're in a push-up position and you're acting like you're dying. It's not that serious. Just stay up. And that's like, you can apply that to any isometric. And I'm not, in no way am I recommending that all you do is isometrics. I don't think that's I don't think that's the truth. Like, I believe in traditional strength training and stuff. I believe in sprinting, jumping, and it's evident by what I post. But those things simply don't allow you to access everything you have as easily as something like a long duration isometric, because the long duration isometric literally is a simulated life or death scenario that you cannot replicate anywhere else.
So, Greg, you got anything to add or no?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna go into like programming wise, but I think, and this is cool to talk about this stuff with multiple different people, but something that really stood out to me at TCU and like the more coaches on the same wavelength or people that I speak with, the biggest thing to get someone to buy into what you're telling them to do is to build a relationship with them first. You're not going to have maybe you do, but a good majority of people, if you tell them to do a 5-minute push-up ISO or a 20-minute lunge ISO the first day, they might be like, all right, but how is that going to help me get a six-pack or bigger biceps? It's not about that in the beginning. But if you can find ways to build a relationship, being authentic, being the same person, having the receipts showing that you are what you're teaching, then people are going to buy into that. It's as simple as that. Like, I thought that I would go down to TCU. I thought as I became a coach that I would find like, oh, this is the perfect programming. I'm going to find like the best way to move for this dude. I'm going to be able to get all these guys to throw this hard, become the best athlete as possible. But truthfully, there are so many different ways to train, like you said, Trey, sprinting, jumping, keeping it traditional, that like everyone's doing that in some capacity. Everyone has their own little things that they do here and there. But truthfully, if you build a relationship and you really show them that you care and you are fully authentic and yourself for them, then they will do what you are asking of them. And I think that's how someone buys into whatever programming that you're doing for them. If you have them do 5-minute ISOs on the first day, let them know that it's more than that. But building a relationship is the most important thing in coaching and sports. I think I've had good coaches, I've had bad coaches, and the most memorable ones, especially at Johnson County, that was like my psychological period of like enlightenment where I was like, okay, it's me that is causing me to not be where I am, and I'm so grateful for those coaches. And the one dude, really the way that he went about it was he cared about us, but he was so hard on us, and we trusted him because he built that relationship. And the best coaches, like I said, the people that I've interacted with that are the most memorable and that I've learned the most from are people that I've had the deepest relationships with.
Yeah, relationships are huge. I think that's, yeah, agree. Like, my best coaches I've always had have been the ones that, you can actually have a conversation with, and they're not trying to. I think when people get to a position of leadership or power, I guess you could say it, over an athlete, they want to act like as if like, they're a lot smarter than them, or that they're in this role that like no one can question. And I think when you have someone that's actually more down to earth, I think a lot of strength coaches are pretty down to earth. At least the ones I've always talked to. Maybe I'm just around all the cool guys, all the cool strength coaches. But yeah, I think pipes, physiology, intellect, psychology, emotion, spirit, like these things all kind of what you guys said. Like there's so many different ways you can do it. Like there's not one traditional way to do it or to apply it. Ways that I personally in my training I think can make it applicable is like ISOs, for example. I think high rep schemes can be super beneficial, not only for just building adaptation and efficiency, but like also to like the act of like, hey, I have to do 50 reps, 4 sets of 50 reps, like just going into it and making that the decision to do it. And then like, I think also too, like, I guess volume as well, like high volume days where you're like, not only you're doing like high reps, but you're doing like a long workout. Like Brady's workouts are 3.5 hours long. They're long as hell. But I think that's another way that you can really train yourself to do what you don't want to do. Yesterday I was doing a workout with the high school kid I live with here in Australia, and we did glute ham raise, supine glute ham raise rotations. And I was like, all right, man, like we're doing 75 reps, like, or I guess, yeah, like left and right is 1 rep, so 150 reps, whatever. And like he wanted to die, and I was like, we just gotta do it, man. We just gotta go in and do it. And we did it, and afterwards he was like all happy and stuff, and but yeah, making the decision to go into it, like we just trained pipes for sure.
Yeah, dude,
For
I think
sure.
most simply put, it's like just do the things that either scare you or that you're not bad at. Like I am good at bench press, so I bench press quite often. Something I am not good at is squatting and having a strong lower body. So in order for me to actually like be the person I want to be the athlete I want to be, or help others, I need to do that. Like I need to lower the ego for a second and just go and address the weaknesses. Like I think there is I think I give credence to, leaning into your strength and relying on them. They're your strengths for a reason. Why would you ignore them? But on the other side of the coin, it's like identify your weaknesses and just work on them. Like if you have a weakness, you don't want a glaring weakness in your protocol or like in your physical capability. If I want to be an elite athlete or I want to help other people be elite athletes, if I look at them and see a weakness and I do not address it, that's on me. Like that's my fault. Like why would I not address a weakness? And it's going to be something that maybe people don't want to do. Like I don't want to squat sometimes because quite frankly I just don't enjoy squatting, but it helps me have a stronger lower body, so I do that and it forces me to create an adaptation that I otherwise would not get from inaction.
Hey, Greg, take me through the process of identifying these weaknesses that you find, like in your athletes, for example, at BRX. Like, what's the very first initial step when someone applies? I
Um,
apply to you.
I would say a big thing, and like if you ask any of the athletes that come into BRX or any of the coaches, they would say I'm probably the weirdest person that's in the building. But I think addressing the human first of can you look at someone in the eyes and say, hi, hey, how's your day going? Can you have a conversation? Can you say more than one word within a conversation? You might not be as comfortable doing that with someone you don't know, but I feel like, and some, I know a lot of kids, I know the coaches that I work with too, but like just pushing people outside their comfort zone to address like, hey, you might not be as articulate as you want, but if you are aware that, hey, like I can't put a bunch of words together, I can't remember my train of thoughts, maybe I need to write more, maybe I need to read more, maybe I just need to go up to random people and like have conversations. You're scared to talk to a girl, you can go up to her. And I'm not saying that there's like a perfect way to do anything like we were going into earlier, but the first thing is like finding what they are most uncomfortable with, and not like exposing them because you want to build trust and you want them to enjoy like the environment that they're in, but first addressing the person. There's kids who come in and are super extroverted and like everyone loves them, everyone knows who they are within the first week, but there's also other athletes that might just want to like be in there and not be as noticed. But at the end of the day, the environment that we're in, we're trying to create people beyond athletic ability, and the first place is to address the human first. And if that is with the conversations, if that's with eye contact, if that's with just like checking in on how their day is, I think that's something that I don't like say I remind myself every single day. But if there's an athlete that walks in, and if there's any athletes on that end up listening to this and I've had weird conversations with, or I'm a weirdo around them, I do that because I want to show them that you should be authentic through your life. Nobody's perfect, but if you address these weaknesses, that is like the first thing off my mind. I don't know if I went into like any like movement assessment or stuff like that, but I feel like that's like the first and most important piece. Something that I learned at TCU with the coaches that we worked with is just seeing them interact with athletes. It's beyond the programming, it's the relationships that you have built, and actually understanding what makes this dude tick or this girl want to train, and knowing that you can change your dialogue, you can change your posture towards them, you can help them in many different ways than just telling them, hey, brace your core, sit back, do this stuff, because they're not going to want to listen to you if you do that stuff over and over again if you don't care about them as a human.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy you brought that up because that's kind of the biggest qualm I have with, the strength and conditioning field is we get so in the weeds about outputs, exercises, whatever. We're training athletes and these athletes are humans. They're not robots. Like you should be able to have a conversation with them about something outside of the weight room. And if you can't understand what it is they want and why they want it, you're not going to be able to help them. Like if I am an athlete and my strength coach does not talk to me about anything other than lifting, like that I don't have as much buy-in as if he's talking to me about my family, about what I like to do outside. Like it is a holistic approach. It has to be a holistic approach to get the most out of it, I think.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I mean, my dad played basketball at University of Kentucky. He played under Rick Pitino, who's now at St. John's. But my dad always said growing up, like Rick Pitino, for example, that was like his like motto, like that's how he would treat guys, is like everyone was treated differently. Like you have to find different ways to make other athletes click. Some guys he would scream at, some guys he would pull aside and just talk to very quietly and stuff. And like, I guess people from the outside looking in that don't understand coaching, like, well, why don't you just scream at everybody? Like, why don't you just tell everyone, like, this is how it is, whatever. And it's like, well, like everyone is different. And I think that's a great way to put it. Like it's holistic, Trey. Um, I think like Logan, for example, was a great example, Greg, at TCU. Like people buy into his stuff because he's just a genuine person. And yeah, he's super smart, but also too, like, more than that, like he's just a good human. And yeah, I think Logan, if Logan ever watches this, which you probably won't, but Logan, remember when we were they're doing the sprints and everyone, and I asked Logan a question ever, and Logan got so mad at me for asking, like, what was I don't even know what the question was, Greg. I guess this is more of a thing for me and Greg here, but anyway. Logan did not like me for the very first few months I was there. But no, going off of that, like what are some trends that like society's heading down with young athletes, and like how can strength coaching or how can training help them?
Greg, you can go ahead and rip, brother.
I would, and Miles, we kind of touched on this a little bit beforehand with metrics, and Trey, you mentioned like it's bigger than metrics. And a lot of people will be seeing social media as a great tool and a great resource, but a lot of people will see, and I've had multiple athletes come up to me, especially younger ones that don't really know their place or don't really know like who they are yet, and see this eighth grader throwing 90. Like I think Miguel Cabrera's son is like throwing 90 already in eighth grade or some shit like that. But you see all these other people and you compare yourself to them, and then you think, okay, I just need to go train so that I can do that. I can throw 90. I can run a sub 4.5 or go to this D1 school. But instead of backtracking and thinking, okay, do I train at all? Do I eat breakfast? Do I wake up when I wake up? Like, you addressing yourself first and seeing where you're at is the most important thing. And I'll just give an example. When I go through assessments, I specifically tell them, like, the program is not the most important thing. It comes down to, if you are saying that you want these goals, because we touch on goals first, if you're saying that you want these goals, are you actually going to align with doing them? Because you can have a chat GPT written program, or you can have a program that you just put on paper and have no idea how it's going to work, or no backstory or no thought process behind it. Or you can have a program that is written by Dak, written by a strength coach who has a ton of experience. And if you don't know what you want or where you are, or if you don't know which one you're going to go all in on, simply put, whichever one that you go all in on and addresses where you're at to get you to where you want to go, that's how you start to build what you want. I don't know. I kind of bounced around in some different areas, but I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, comparison is definitely a huge trend that I think a lot of young athletes need to understand. Like, look, everyone's different. Like, just because you're not throwing 90 miles per hour in the eighth grade doesn't mean that you can or you won't eventually, right? But like, these guys also have one big trend is these unrealistic goals. Like, hey, I'm 17, I throw 72, I'm 150 pounds, I want to go play Division I baseball, I want to go play high level baseball. Like, that's a trend that you see a lot overseas, especially because there's that one guy that makes it, right? And like, oh well, I play on the same team as that guy. Like, why can't I do it too? And it's like, well, that guy also is 230 pounds. He's 6'4". He's naturally gifted, whatever. He also performs a lot better than you do. Like, just because you guys play on the same team, and like even that, like the universities I was at before, like there's guys that you play with, like that are all Americans, that are drafted or signed as free agents, and there's guys that stand around and say, well, why is it not me? And it's like, well, dude, like if you want to play the comparison game, like compare the little things that he does versus what you do. Like look at your life versus him. And also too, he hit 400 for 3 years straight, and you're hitting a $180. Like, but
Let me add one more piece, and then Trey,
go for it.
Trey, you can cook on this. I think with the trend that I was talking about, with seeing these things on social media, I feel like, and this may be just my thought process, but as I was going through high school, like I always had the goal, and I'm sure we all have had the goal of playing at the highest level as possible within our respective sport. But I feel like a lot of people, and I have seen this, they don't seek out what these people are doing, kind of what you were just talking about, Miles. They just see what people are accomplishing, like their highlights, but they're not seeking out, okay, what does this dude practice like? What does his training look like? What does his diet look like? They just want to do that and have that on their resume of, I played Division I baseball, football, whatever it is. They don't zoom out and actually assess where they're at or look at what these people did to get there, because process is the most important thing. And I think that gets lost a lot when you're chasing metrics.
Yeah. And I know what you're saying, and I would disagree to the wording that how you put it, because I think people do seek out what these people are doing, but that's like the slop and like the brain rot stuff you see like on Instagram Reels, like, hey, I throw 100, this is my workout routine. And it's like, it's these guys that are 26 years old. Like, if I ever showed anyone my workout routine and said to a 16-year-old kid, hey, do this, like that kid would probably blow up. Like, you know what I mean? But, they see this stuff online. They think like, oh, like, yeah, this is what this guy's doing. Like, I need to do this too. And whenever I have a phone call with my athletes or people that I work with, I always say like, look, like my body's a test on me for myself. I would never give you half the stuff that I do because one, I don't think it's necessarily necessary for you to do. There's a better way to go about what you specifically need. But anyway, Trey, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You give me time to think. And yeah, I think the biggest thing, Greg, is that people with social media, I think they lose sight on the process. All they see is the results. They glorify the results. They hyper fixate on the outcome, and they don't see like what it took to actually get there. A good example is like Max Clark. Like people see Max Clark wearing diamond chains, all this stuff in high school, flexing, making all this money, whatever. He's a gifted athlete, yes. But like you don't see that kid, I would imagine, I don't know. I would imagine the reason he's in the position he is in is because he genuinely does everything that he needs to do in terms of baseball. Like he wanted to be a baseball player at the highest level possible. So his only thing that he focused on is baseball. Like people don't see that. They see the highlights. They see the brand deals, the NIL stuff now with that stuff in college baseball, and they don't see the behind the scenes stuff, and that's understandable. And then to your point, Miles, even if people do see the process, people see stuff on social media, and I fall victim of this myself, is like if I'm on social media and I'm looking for advice on something, the majority of what's out there, people are posting what they're doing now. So like for me, what I'm doing for training right now would not probably work for me 5 years ago because I wasn't capable of what I'm doing now. Like people forget that all athletes, like myself, Gray, you, Miles, all of us have built a foundation which now allows us to do the non-traditional stuff. But the basics are the basics for the reason, and people like the flashy exercises. They like the metrics that they can track. They want to be able to track VBT all the time. They want to see how fast they're actually running and do all these like super nuanced things. But people lose sight of the fact that not every single, there's gifted. I'm going to take pro athletes out of this equation because a lot of those people are unicorns. But like college athletes, they all have some sort of training foundation that was built upon that started with the basics and progressively got more intense, more nuanced, more novel stimulus, and it created more and more adaptation. And I think a lot of people, especially younger kids, like don't understand there's not a silver bullet out there. There's not this secret program. Like everyone's kind of doing the same thing at the end of the day. And the people that see the best results are the people that have the most buy-in, that care about the most, that want it the most. And we've already covered all that stuff, but that's my perspective.
What you got, Greg?
I don't have much more to add, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
I think we brought up some good points there.
I don't want to take your time. I know you're a man who's always thinking. So
Yeah, you can cook with whatever you got on your mind, though.
no, I was gonna kind of just talk more about like social media and stuff. I know Greg wants to get into making some content. Mr. Hard to Kill, Mr. Hard to Kill, give Greg some advice here. Greg wants to start. Maybe you should film your cold showers. Maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, hey, bro, you could do like a day in the life where you dance in front of the mirror, like those dudes. Yeah, bro, do that. Dude, it's the same thing. Like I talked with a few people about this in person. Like they're like, oh, I want to make this content. I want to coach people online. I want to do all this stuff. Like I want to be on camera. You already know my answer to like, just do it. Like just get in front of the camera, figure out what works. Like for me, posting and having to schedule all this stuff. Anytime I tell myself I have to do something, I don't want to do it. So I try to make things frictionless. If I have an idea, I have a phone on me. I get that idea. I input a voice memo. I make a video right there on the spot. I film a video of me talking wherever, and you just do it. Just start, and you have value. If you find something interesting and it's worked for you, and you're able to convey that message in an understandable way, like people are going to fucking love everything that you do. Like, and you don't even have to be right. The biggest thing I found, I post stuff that I look at from like 2 years ago. I'm like, dude, what was I smoking? This is the stupidest post ever. And people are still like, yeah, dude, I agree. I'm like, I don't agree with that. It's crazy, but it's so cool. The biggest thing that changed it for me is like the conversations that we're having right now. And I understand the inhibition of like getting on a camera and talking to it because it is kind of, weird. Like I judge myself listening to myself talk. I'm like, you sound like an idiot right now. But what all content creation is the communication we're having right now. But instead of me talking to you, Greg, I'm talking to a camera screen. I post that and I ghost and that's it. And it's so easy. And it's literally the coolest thing. It's like, why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
I agree, 100%. You just got to do it. The biggest thing I would say, honestly, not trying to like put in any excuses, but what is like tugging me in the other direction is like trying to find, okay, if I'm gonna post this much, how do I how do I limit? And this is, I guess, a question for you, Trey. How do you, and Miles too, because you guys both do post. I guess I'm the oddball out, but how do you limit the amount of intake that you have when you are like consistently posting? Because I'm not someone who wants to spend like hours on social media.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm 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 a victim of that. Like for me now, like I'm gonna delete because I've been thinking about it for a while now. So I'm gonna delete Instagram off my phone. Only have it on my iPad here.
Valid.
Um, so because I'm never on my iPad anyway. So and I'm not gonna pull up my iPad and watch reels on my iPad like a toddler on my in bed. So but yeah, I think you can still make a content like this is me personally speaking. You can probably still make content um, like without having Instagram or whatever on your phone. Just having like a photo editing app or a video editing app, and then just transferring it to like your laptop, whatever. Like whenever you're on your laptop, because I think if you're sitting there making videos on your laptop, you might feel a little bit weirder. Or scrolling on Instagram on your laptop, you might feel a little bit like, what am I doing? You might judge yourself a little bit more. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if that makes any sense. Um, but I think Trey's a little better than I am in terms of like being consistent. I kind of just post whenever I have an idea. But yeah, if you ever see me on my phone typing after we've had an interaction, my gears are working, or that you pissed me off because I'm always like mad in my posts. Like I had someone the other day ask me, when I was doing handstands. They're like, "Aren't you afraid you're gonna like break your wrist?" I went straight to my phone, started typing away. It's like I hate this guy so much. Oh man, but what do you got, Greg? What are you thinking? What are you thinking in terms of some strategies you can take? This is kind of just us talking now. It's not really
Yeah. I want to
anything
hear
anyone wants to listen to.
I want to hear what Trey has to say about like how he got into the schedule because I like the frictionless thing. I feel like if I
Hmm.
had, because the having it on your phone obviously removes a lot of friction because if you have an idea, you can just roll
Yeah.
with it. But what do you got, Trey?
So are you talking about like the biggest problem you have is like if you're posting something, then you're going to be on Instagram more and you don't want to be on Instagram like 24/7 and everyone gets sucked into scrolling. Is that what you're kind of referring to?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I don't scroll at all because I for sure
Oh yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But if I post more, then it's just going to be like opening it up, and that comes down to the self discipline part of it too, just being
Mhm.
aware.
Well, the biggest thing I would say is just post and don't scroll. That's the most simple answer. But for me, like, I'll show you. I have two phones. One has social media, one does not have social media, simply because this phone has like my family has contacts, it has email, it has no social media on it. So like if I want to go out in public, I don't want to be on social. I hate social media like so much. I am the biggest op of doom scrolling. I hate it. Like I don't watch TV. I don't really watch YouTube. I am reading or I'm creating. Like my biggest thing that I've adopted and I've entertained this idea for the longest time of like creating more than you consume. And I've said this and I haven't really acted on it, but the moment I started acting on that and literally cut out my consumption to zero, like legitimately cut out my consumption to zero, my life got so much better and it became so much more frictionless. And it's like you said, building momentum. So like for me, I and this is my own personal opinion. This is the way I think of life, I guess. Like if I'm consuming something that is information that is going into my head, and it is getting stored whether I like it or not. Like subconsciously, I'm going to be thinking about what happened in that Netflix show that I watched last night and the night before and the night before and the night before and the night before. And that's going to influence my thoughts. Like my beliefs become my thoughts become my perception becomes my reality, or actions become reality, whatever the hell. Like that is taking up information in my head that I don't care about. So I just choose to not engage in that stuff, and I choose to create instead. And again, it's not easy. The biggest way that I've gotten ahead of that and kind of eradicated that need, like I don't want to sit down on the couch and watch something because it is information I don't care. I want to think for myself. I don't want my thoughts to come from an external place. And if they do, I want it to be like I put in effort. I was researching. I was talking to people. I was reading something. I don't want it to come from, like, I don't want a bunch of Charlie Kirk brain rot reels just filling up my feed and filling up my brain. I don't care. Like, I don't care. That's funny, whatever. But like, I don't care about it. It's not impactful. So like, as far as the creation thing, I just started consistently, like the past 3 days I haven't posted. I used the excuse of moving, whatever. But like, I've continued to write. So like for writing, I just made this constraint that I have to do it for 30 minutes, and I do it and then I get off. For posting, I literally post on Instagram. And granted, it does help having two separate phones, but I post and then I get off of it. Like the only time I go onto my phone is to post or to check my DMs to talk with people that message me, like you guys, friends, clients, whatever. Other than that, I don't go on it. Like occasionally I'll go on and just look through, but the people I'm following, I never go to the explore page. I never like click on reels. I just stay on the home screen because the people that I engage with, I genuinely enjoy their content. But even then it's like, that's cool, but I would rather focus on what I have to say and like what I have learned through my experiences instead of constantly consuming information. And I know that was a rant, but essentially just create more than you consume, and like slowly your brain will start to change. And like I'll be sitting there, I'll go for a walk, and another part of that is like leaning into like an analog life, like being able to go for a walk without your phone, being able to sit in silence, doing more of quote unquote nothing, like putting yourself in a position where you have the opportunity to be bored, to think about things. And you'll find if you keep doing that, you'll have these thoughts. As soon as you get a thought, act on it, take a video. Like I could right now, I could just start talking to my phone right now, make a reel, put it down, post it later, done. Like it's that frictionless. You have to figure out what works for you. Like I've tried in the past editing videos or trying to put a bunch of thought into them and all that stuff. For me, that just doesn't work because then I start overthinking it. I put it off and I don't actually act on it. So the easiest thing for me to do is I have like 3 types of content I make. I have a video and I put words on it. I guess I only have 2. I have a video and I type words on it, write a caption about stuff I'm thinking about, or I just show a bunch of training clips and I just rant to my phone on a voice memo for like 2-3 minutes. And I've removed that emotional attachment from the likes, from the followers. I don't care. None of that stuff means anything. Like there was a point where I would refresh my phone and I was like, oh my God, 200 people like this, 300 people like this, whatever. I don't care anymore. It's just like, I feel like I'm at a point now where if I don't post stuff and I don't share my thoughts and I don't express myself, I don't feel good. Like I want to continuously just like have a thought, share it with people because I know it can help them. Share it, share it, share it. And selfishly, like the social media thing is about me. Like I do it for myself. I want to help people with my coaching and all that stuff, but I genuinely love to create, and it allows me to have a much clearer mind than just not creating and like having these thoughts and just like sitting with them and not sharing them. So for me, it just the output just makes my life so much better. It allows me, and it reinforces itself. Like it pushes me forwards, and the more I do, the more I am capable of doing. It's like the same thing with training. The more you train, the more you can do, whatever. That's my roundabout answer, dude. It's just creating more than you consume, and then it becomes second nature, like the cold shower. You use that momentum and you get reps. Like if I post every single day, 30 days from now, I'm going to have 30 more reps than I did today.
I think going off of like you talking to Trey about like you are what you consume, that's one thing I've never really talked about with anybody, but like I've always like gave the example, like I guess I've talked to some people about it, but like listen to country music versus listening to rap music. Like I went on a probably 7 months. I was living out in Texas. I probably went on like an 8 month just spurt of just listening to only country music, versus like in my mind operated so much differently than if I listened to like Young Dolph and Key Glock, which I always used to. But I think it's really crazy how like the brain works, how it perceives like what you like take, what media you take in. Because that can go with a lot of different things, right? It can go with like if you're scrolling Instagram all the time looking at girls, or if you are listening to some like certain type of music, whatever. Like I think like your brain is super vulnerable to what it takes in. So if you're able to like put good stuff in it, right? Like I don't watch really any horror movies because one, I'm a little scaredy cat, but also too like I don't want to like put demonic,
Yeah.
like crazy stuff in my head. I don't have an interest in doing that, I guess.
Agree.
But well, Greg, you don't watch horror movies because you're scared, right?
I knew with that little pause that you were gonna say something.
But no, yeah, I think that's a really good point, Trey. I like that you brought that up. Doing more of nothing. I think we can all do a little bit more of nothing. And you know, in matter of fact, after me and Greg had our very first conversation together, I actually went out the very next day and I bought a book that he recommended at a bookstore, and I read it in 2 days. And that was like the best 2 days of my life. I just sat in my bed all day long and just did nothing but read in my free time.
What book? What book?
The Alchemist.
Yeah, bro. Alchemist is a fucking goated book. I love that.
Yeah.
Elite.
I talked to someone the other day and they asked what I was reading. So I said, "Oh, I'm reading this book right now because right now I'm reading the Odyssey."
I just finished reading the Odyssey. Hell yeah.
Was it good?
Hell yeah, bro. It's gonna be better than the movie's gonna be terrible compared to the book.
Yeah, that's why I'm starting reading it too. But yeah, someone said the other day the Alchemist was like one of the worst books they've ever read, and I was like, really?
What is this?
I need to reread it.
Do you know this person personally?
I met them on the beach. Yeah.
What were the vibes they were giving off? Were they good vibes?
Yeah, they were nice. They were nice, but they saw me reading the Odyssey. And they're like, "Oh, like, what other books have you read?" I was like, "Oh, I read the Alchemist," and they're like, "Oh, that book sucks." It's like, "Oh, are we thinking of the same book or?" So yeah. Anyway, well, yeah, I want to get to know you, Trey, and just talk and introduce you to Greg. I think Greg is one of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my whole entire life. So even though he doesn't respond to my texts, that's his only downfall, is that he's not on his phone never. So I can barely get a hold of him. But no, I appreciate you guys both being on. We've been at this for a while now, I think. Yeah, 2 hours we've been talking. So, anyway, if there's anything else you guys want to add or even hit topic wise, we can. If not, I appreciate both you guys being on. Greg,
Yeah, dude,
Trey,
I appreciate the opportunity. Like this is the coolest part for me about social media is like I've gotten on calls with numerous people with numerous backgrounds, and I'm like, dude, let's just talk. Like you seem like you guys are like very like-minded individuals to myself, and it's not very common that you find people that actually care about stuff the way that we care about stuff. Like people don't, and I don't even think it's like taking life seriously, whatever. Like people can say, "Oh, you're taking life too seriously," whatever. Okay, I I want my life to be great, and I take care of it, and I want to be healthy, and I want to have meaningful connections and whatever. And it's so rare that you're able to talk to people about that because people don't. Dude, people even in the strength and conditioning world, like people don't sit here and have conversations like this. Like everyone just like operates like this and just does the same thing, doesn't connect on a personal level, treats each other like robots. And it's so cool that we're able to connect. So we should definitely stay in touch.
yeah, for sure. That was one thing I love about Greg is I was always trying to have fun at TCU. Probably a little bit too much fun. I was probably joking around moments I probably shouldn't have in the weight room, but I was always looking for Greg's reaction because Greg would always lighten up my day. What a beast! But yeah, I appreciate you guys both being on. We'll all stay in touch. I wanted to ask about red light because I know both of you guys do red light. Should I buy a red light?
Yes. Right now, do it.
Should I change
That's
my light bulb in my Australian bedroom to red light?
Yes, dude. I was about to buy because my dad's house that I just moved into, the bathroom light, there's like one light switch turns on like five different lights, and I don't want that much light at night when I'm taking a shower. So I'm about to go and buy a red light little plug-in because I'm like that. Buy a red light, dude. Like it's the best impulse purchase I've ever made in my life.
A red light cold shower.
Dude, yeah, honestly, if I'm not taking a shower in red light, it's pitch black.
What are the I guess last question I asked, what are the benefits of red light? Because I've had buddies that have done them. My strength coach at DBU used to only work out in red light at times. But like what are the benefits? Enlighten me, educate me.
The simplest explanation I can give you, you know what your mitochondria is, the powerhouse of the cell, whatever.
Oh yeah.
It supercharges your mitochondria. Your mitochondria loves it. It works through this mechanism. I won't get into like the biochemistry of it, but like it essentially just supercharges your mitochondria. It gives you energy. There's different wavelengths. The red light specifically is very good for your skin. It's very good for wound healing. The non-infrared is not stronger, but it's a longer wavelength, so it can penetrate deeper, help with things like your bones, your muscles, tendons, ligaments, whatever. Like there literally is not a benefit that you could come up with that couldn't be justified by red light, honestly. Like immune function, skin health, gut health, heart health, whatever. If you just shine the red light on your stomach, it is good for your stomach. Same thing with eyesight, hair health, whatever, injuries. Me personally, I use it more for like a circadian perspective because I just don't like being under artificial light at night, and blue light is like my enemy. So I use it mostly for ambient lighting. But from a like a recovery perspective, it's one of, if not the best thing you can do other than like sunlight.
Because Greg, you do it for like sleep too, don't you? Like more of a circadian thing as well.
Yeah, I don't have an actual panel. That'll be something that I get this year, but all of my lighting at night is warm. Like I have this orange light here, and then a little orange mushroom, and then this light here is red, and then the one in my bedroom's red. So like at night, just honestly, from my experience, emotionally, the regulation of like, all right, when I get home, I can actually like chill. And then like what we were talking about a little bit ago, like being bored and being alone and being in your thoughts, it's like almost helps me be more creative at night. But yeah, I try to stay away from the bright ass lights at night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, there's nothing like I've gone through multiple phases of like being super orthorexic about stuff. Like, dude, I don't want to eat seed oils. Seed oils are gonna fucking kill me. I don't care anymore. But like blue light and bright light at night, I hate it. Like I physically hate it. Like I do not want to be under bright light at night because I just know that it's not good for me and it pisses me off. And the vibes are so much better with a red light or with like a candle or something.
Yeah.
So what if I just went to a store and bought a red light bulb? Is that the same as a panel?
No. So a red
Okay.
light would be good for like what Greg's doing, like putting it in a
Okay.
lamp. That's probably what I'm going to do is just going to switch it out. Like that's just great because the actual, one second, I got a dog. Holy shit. 1 second, please.
You got a what? What's that?
Something about his dog.
Oh. Is his dog choking like Greg's? What's your dog
No, bro.
choking?
Apologies. Uh, okay. What I was saying was so a bulb is better for like a circadian perspective, but it's nowhere
Okay.
near strong enough as a panel. Like a panel is essentially like it's a space laser that you can use and put on your body. Like the diodes on it are just way stronger. The wavelength of light emitted from a light bulb is not therapeutic compared to a red light panel.
Okay. So I mean I've seen like stuff online of like people doing like red light stuff and they have scars afterwards. I'm like, geez, dude, like
Mm. You can definitely overdo it. I've
yeah.
never experienced that myself. I'd be interested to see like what they're actually doing. Um, yeah, because I mean, one of the only potential side effects or downsides of red light is like it's like anything. Like there is an effective dose. You don't want to just sit in front of this super
Yeah.
concentrated red light panel for 3 hours because like if you stared at it every single day for like 30 minutes, it would probably not be good for you because near infrared light will shred your retina and you won't even be able to feel it. Like you cannot see infrared light. It's invisible. It's like you don't even notice that damage is happening. So as long as you don't stare at it every single day for 30 minutes, it's safe. But there's people out there that I don't know how to use common sense.
Yeah, I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, and there's an episode of Seinfeld where Jerry's neighbor Kramer, his apartment has a giant neon sign outside of it for like a restaurant that's like out like in like the neighborhood. It's a giant red sign, so his entire apartment's like glowing red, and he like goes crazy. So that's all I'm
Dude,
thinking
the
of.
vibes of a red room are top notch. Like there's nothing cooler than walking into a just red room. Like you feel like Batman, honestly.
All right, I'm looking at my light because I want to see if I can unscrew it. So I might even my host is gonna kill me. They already think I'm really weird. But it's okay.
Bro, you gotta lean in. The weirdness is that's good.
Yeah.
Weirdness is good. If people think you're weird, it's like, okay, I'm doing something right. I need to keep doing it.
Yeah, Greg recommended some songs for me to play, like some metal songs, a few weeks ago, and I was playing them out in the garage like at full blast, and I was like grunting and like screaming at myself. And my host mom came out and was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good.
So
I'm
I'm
all right."
happy, dude. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I was like screaming and cussing myself out and stuff, and yeah, they were concerned for my mental health, but that's okay. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
well, I appreciate you guys. Hey, Greg, do you have an extra 10 minutes on your? I want to talk to you about BRX.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can leave and rejoin or whatever. Or Trey, appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here, brother.
Yeah, bro. We'll stay in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Peace.
Appreciate you, bro.
See ya.
I'm gonna end the recording now. So, how do I do that? Here, stop recording. Got it.